Jason Lauren on Nova 100.
Shout out if you're heading out to Tullamarine to go flying this morning. A bit of a concern if you're jumping on board a Baddock Air flight. You've flown these guys, haven't you?
I did, and I made it in one piece.
You love a cheapie, don't you?
Even in this story, everyone's made it in one piece,
Yes.
but there has been an issue in the cockpit, Jace.
An Airbus A320, 153 passengers on board. 2 Indonesian pilots were flying out of Jakarta. The plane went a half an hour off course because of a bit of a situation. Air traffic control tried to make contact. Air traffic control to Baddock 493, come in please. Baddock 493, air traffic control, come in please.
Yep, not one, but both of the pilots
2 from 2.
fell asleep. Fell asleep at the cockpit. In the cockpit.
That's unsettling.
That's a bad
control.
scene. Surely, like, the flight attendants were like, we finished meal service a while ago.
Yeah.
This
flight seems to be going on a bit.
But it does happen, doesn't it? You know, you get on a plane and...
No, it doesn't
if
happen.
you're a passenger.
I wonder if they had their eye masks on as well. Hey,
You
I've got
do
just
not
the guy
disturb
to tell us all about this. Captain Richard de Crepney, the hero pilot from Qantas Flight 32. Captain, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Captain Richard.
You know what? It'd be great gear if we went to you and you were asleep on the phone.
Hey,
How does this happen, Captain?
Well, I think first of all, there are all kinds of laws about fatigue management, and the airlines must obey them. And that airline certainly does have the fatigue management system. So the first rule is the pilots do not turn up fatigued. You really can't use, particularly if you're in your own time zone. Sometimes pilots going internationally across many hours of time zone change, if they haven't been in that time zone before, it can have terrible effects on the body and make you tired. So there is actually a method for pilots, one pilot at a time, to go to sleep.
One
to
at a
rest.
time.
But only for 20 minutes. You don't want to go too long. Otherwise, you get some, you stay down for too long and there's sleep inertia when you come back.
We're the same with an afternoon nap,
You
aren't
don't
we?
want to get
we
in the
always
deep
go,
sleep.
yeah, you don't want to get back up.
but like,
But I
seriously,
think the pilot said that he had a 1-year-old child at home and he was putting a lot of effort into that, so he was fatigued when he went to work. No, that's not acceptable.
No.
I mean, you have a responsibility as a pilot to protect the lives of all your passengers, and you do not make that subservient to looking after a baby. If that's the problem, you do not go to work.
no. But Captain Richard, because the planes fly on like autopilot, right? Like, are the
Cruise
pilots? Are the pilots? Are they doing much up there during the flight?
You're speaking to a
'Cause
captain
it-
here.
I know,
No,
but
they
for
don't.
half an hour they were
Yeah.
asleep and the plane just cruised.
Yeah, just like the radio station, it all goes on automatic, doesn't it? You don't need to do anything.
I don't do a lot, to be fair.
No, look, there are autopilots, and it's a bit like a cruise control. So if you leave the cruise control engaged on a highway, then it'll hold the speed until maybe you hit someone in front. But the autopilots are a bit similar to car cruise controls. Now, it would have held I think it held the course constant, and so the aircraft went off the published course because they were meant to be turning.
Yeah.
It held a constant track and so went off course. And then half an hour after, or 28 minutes after they'd fallen asleep and uncontactable, they woke up. And they weren't too far. They just had to dodge right and probably added an extra 10 minutes of flight.
It's like when you miss your exit on the Monash.
Oh, yeah.
You just got to loop around. You loop around.
Oh, there's nothing like the panic when you miss the exit.
Oh, I know. Captain, can I ask let's peek behind the curtains
Here
here.
we go.
When you're flying the plane, do you get first choice of the meals? Because you know how if you get stuck down the back, sometimes they go, I'm sorry, we're out of the chicken.
Yeah.
You can
It's
only
annoying,
have the
isn't it?
stroganoff.
Yeah.
Well,
Do you get to pick
don't-
before the passenger?
You don't want everyone to eat fish in the cockpit.
No,
good call.
I've seen Flying High.
So pilots must eat separate meals, and in fact, they load separate meals for the crew because the most risky food to eat on an aircraft is a first-class food. And then the reason for that is because they have salads, they have oysters, cold seafood, salads. These are things that, well, certainly cold seafood is a great risk.
Yeah. So you get separate meals in case, like, you know, say if
yeah.
you die of an oyster, then the co-pilot lands the plane.
Yeah, what? They can't both get sick on the same food.
You're just not allowed to eat cold seafood. In Qantas anyway, you're not allowed to, and that should pilots generally were aware of the risky food, so they avoid it.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, I don't mind
you
that,
certainly
though.
don't have everyone eating the same food. That would
Yeah,
be-
right.
I don't want the pilots up the front sitting there doing oyster shooters while they're meant to be flying the
I've
plane.
never gotten sick from my $8 Pringles, let me tell you.
Hey, Richard, just very quickly, given what happened in the past with QF32, do you have free flights for life with Qantas?
Oh, yeah.
A gold
I
card?
wish. I wish. Would you mind making a phone call
I can.
to the Vanessa Hudson for me?
You
Yeah,
should.
that'd be great.
100% you should have free
Yeah,
flights.
absolutely.
Captain Richard de
I
Crepney.
think that is just. I think so. Yeah, you're right.
Well, you deserve it. Hey, mate, thanks for jumping on this morning. We appreciate it.
Thanks. Have a great day.
You
Thanks,
too.
Captain. What about that, hey? I like that the pilots eat separate foods because you don't want them both getting food poisoning.
Hey, I don't know what we'll get here. 13, 24, 10. Have you fallen asleep on the job? Oh, so at work.
There's a-
At work. Not on the job. Babe,
I mean,
No,
it
not
happens
that
from time to time.
babe, you're on top of me.
Jace.
Babe, wake up.
At work.
At work, not on the job. You're squashing me, babe. Wake up.
You should stop talking now, Jace.
13, 24, 10. Have you fallen asleep at work?
Yes.
Because I will be very interested to find out what jobs. I mean, look, if it's a landscaper, it's fine, unless the ride-on mower is actually going. But, like,
Yeah.
You
No,
know.
I fell asleep the day after Oaks Day at work.
it's called pass out.
think
It's
we
not
I was
all
in the
fall asleep.
armchair on the Friday morning. I was sound asleep.
Do you reckon they wake up in the cockpit like you do on a plane? You know, when you're having a bad dream, like you're falling and you go, and you hit the tray table and you look around and you're just like, cool.
Do you reckon
that
they had the head nods? Your head falls down and you lift it back up.
Amy has called through. Ames, what line of work were you in?
Hi, Bruce and Lauren. Wonderfully stayed. So glad you guys are back.
Oh, thank
thanks,
you.
Amy.
So I'm a nurse and I did fall asleep. It was, in my defence, a double shift and a night shift for 18 hours, got the best of me.
Yeah, but
And I was snoring away and quite awkward and embarrassing, but yeah.
Were you supposed to be doing something at the time as a nurse or were you just like doing admin?
Oh, no, abroad, no. It was just more like just a kind of downtime that we
Oh,
got.
right.
And then I was at the nurse's station, just kind of got my head comfortable at the desk and, accidentally nodded away. And they were nice, though, lovely nurses. They didn't wake me up. I apparently was snoring for a good about 20 minutes.
No,
yeah, but
that's
no one was waiting
humiliating.
for like morphine or anything like that. I mean, that's a
Didn't
concern.
get the defibrillator out
Yeah.
to wake you up.
Clear.
Snoring. If you've nodded off and you're snoring in a public place, though, that's humiliating.
13, 24, 10. Where have you fallen asleep at work?
Daniel in Kilsyth, good morning. Talk to us. Where were you working when you fell asleep?
I used to work at Mount Buller as a lifty, and I had a big night on the Travis Close the night before, and I thought, I'd have a quick nap at the top of a chairlift, and my job was to make sure when someone had fallen off, I
Don't.
make sure I stopped the lift and picked them up, and
Don't.
about 15 minutes had passed, a couple of kids had fallen.
Yeah, because if they don't stop, they just kind of get pushed along or they fall back down the hill.
Out of control chairlifts are the reason I don't ski. There's a lot of videos online.
They're quite amusing, though, aren't they? When someone can't quite get off.
Oh, watching my Paul, the big Queenslander, the first time we took him to the snow, try and get off the chairlift is one of the funniest things you'll ever see in your life.
And they get out that little mat where they've got to catch you
Oh, yeah.
if you've got to fall off and like jump off the chairlift.
Snowplow down.
I'm heavy. You sure you're right? Okay, I'm coming on 3.
God. All right, let's go to Belgrave. Jasmine, good morning.
Hello.
Talk to us. Where'd you fall asleep?
So I work as a childcare educator. You
Uh-oh.
know, when the kids go to sleep, the lights go down,
Yeah.
the music goes on, everything, like it's calm. And I've fallen asleep putting children to sleep multiple times.
Well, if they're having melatonin, you can have a couple as well.
Yeah, but
You know,
that,
you get a little pillow, you lay down next to them, you give them a little pat on the bum, and you're off.
oh, but
What is
like,
it? Melatonin, not Finurgan.
No,
No,
Finurgan's
that's-
a hardcore
You
one.
can't
is
do
it?
that
Yeah.
anymore.
Oh, we're not doing that anymore?
That was in
Oh.
the early 90s. I think. I don't think people
You got to
go-
say your kids had an allergy.
No, melatonin helps kids sleep.
Yeah, Finurgan helps the
So
parents,
does
let me tell you. Yep, he has an allergy.
Yeah, Finurgan's for if you have an allergy. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, 2410 to join us on the air. Where have you fallen asleep, Melbourne?
Belinda, good morning. Where'd you fall asleep?
Actually, at work on the toilet because I didn't want to get caught. So I thought I'll go to the bathroom and, sit on the toilet and least I can get half an hour.
Oh, half an hour?
That's a lot.
What job are you working in, though, to do that?
It was a hostel. Like I was a carer there, but they were always like
Carer.
very low care. Very low care. I had my buzzer on me, but it was connected to a hospital. So the charge nurse used to do rounds at through the night, so you never used to know when she was going to come. So I thought the only place I couldn't get caught
It's the toilet.
was
Strong.
maybe in the toilet.
Yeah.
She's not coming to
Belinda,
peep over
did you
the
have the
door.
lid up or down?
Yeah, I was thinking that because if you recline, that's going to hurt in your
Down.
back. Yeah, right.
Lid down, yeah.
Yeah. Also, was it low care because the staff were asleep? Like, was it a high care facility they just weren't getting the high care? Hey, this is always good. Anonymous has called through on
God.
132410. What line of work were you in when you fell asleep?
It wasn't me. I used to work in a youth justice correctional facility,
Oh,
and the security guards would fall asleep in the back of the class.
Yeah, right.
the security guard. And was there ever an instance when he was perhaps required, but he was sound asleep?
No, thankfully, but I was definitely on alert for a few times and had to give a bit of a wake-up call.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Sorry to wake you, Jimmy. One of the guys has a shiv. Would you mind?
We've got a prison break going on.
4 have just gone over the fence. When you if you want to brush your teeth and splash a bit of water on your face, and then if we can just go and get them, that'd be great.
Yeah, I don't know if you want the security guard falling asleep.
No, absolutely not.